Hello everyone, my name is Paola. Welcome back or welcome here if you're new here, clicking on this video for the first time in my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing baby names that are on my list and have been since even before we got pregnant. I am going to be a mother. We are going to be parents in about 5 months, give or take. Right now I am almost 22 weeks and I still cannot believe that this is happening. This is what baby looks like right now. I'm going to be sharing the names that I absolutely love. Now, most of these names my husband does not love because he likes more modern and common names, and I like more classic, very uncommon names, if that makes sense. You might recognize some of these names, especially if you already know someone with this name or if you've watched a movie or heard of it in a show or something, but I have personally never met anyone with any of these names myself, so I feel like that's why I gravitate more towards the names I'm about to list. I know a lot of people like to look into the meaning of names and that's why they choose a specific name. In my case, I don't do that. I only chose these names because I like the sound of it or the spelling of it, not specifically for the meaning, but I am still going to be mentioning what the meaning is behind that name and where it comes from. The first name on my list is Eloise. This is English, but it comes from French origin and it means healthy and wide. And in German, it means famous warrior. So Eloise is spelled E-L-O-I-S-E. I really like this name because it sounds soft and pretty easy to say, but I feel like if you're a Spanish-speaking Hispanic person like we are, maybe in your family or in your community of friends, they might not be able to say this name as well as you would like for them to pronounce it, but I still love the name Eloise. I really like it. The next name is Caroline. It's spelled C-A-R-O-L-I-N-E. The name Caroline comes from a French origin and it means strong. It's the feminine version of Charles, which means free man. I like Caroline or Caroline. I like any of those two. I feel like there's different ways that you can pronounce it, either one or the other, but I like how it's spelled. I like that it's not as long as other names that I have on this list. And I have heard of this name, but I've never met anyone with this name. The next name is pretty similar. It has that same ending sound at the ein or line, but this is Adeline. I feel like I've watched a movie with a character, or like the main character whose name is Adeline. I really like the sound of it, but my husband was like, it sounds like T-Mobile promoting to Adeline. Which of course, my thinking is that any name that you say or hear can be easily bullied into something. For example, my name is Paola. A lot of people used to say Paola Crayola just because it rhymes, but it really doesn't mean anything, it's just a name. So Adeline is feminine, given name, meaning noble or nobility, and this is of German origin. If you like the name Adeline and you want it to be a little bit easier for Spanish-speaking family members, you could also choose the name Adeline in Spanish, and it means the same thing. An honorable of a noble kind. Adeline. The only difference here is you would just take out the E at the end and it would just be a short I sound, Adeline. The next name that I liked, which was not added to my list until recently when someone recommended it to me, is Mariah. Yes, like Mariah Carey, the artist. But I like Mariah because it's a different take than just Mary. Mariah is a girl's name of Latin origin, meaning the Lord is my teacher. I feel like that's a really nice name. And Mariah is spelled M-A-R-I-A-H. Another name starting with the letter M is Melody. I have never heard of anyone with this name, but someone also recommended it to me and they said that this was the daughter of Ariel from the movie The Little Mermaid. I did look it up because I didn't remember, and yes, it's true. I also like the sound of that name, Melody. Melody. Melody is a girl's name with Greek origin, meaning music or song, of course. And this is spelled M-E-L-O-D-Y. The next name is in Spanish. Now, our baby girl is going to be born in the autumn time, so I really wanted something that spoke or meant autumn in a way or another. And Aurelia means the golden one, which I really like the meaning of it. And this is mostly Spanish or Latin origin. It's really pretty. I like the sound, Aurelia. It kind of sounds like Aurora, which is one of the other ones that I have on here. But Aurelia, I've never met anyone with this name, and I really like how you spell it, how you say it. And this is spelled A-U-R-E-L-I-A, Aurelia. The next name on my list also starts with an A, and this is Ariel. Now, this is Ariel in English, but I don't like Ariel as much as I like Ariel in Spanish. Ariel is in Hebrew, and it means the Lion of God. And it says that this gives the name of a strong and powerful connotation, but the name can also be interpreted as altar of God or heart of God, which gives it a more gentle and nurturing connotation. So Ariel, I like that name a lot. It's short and simple, just 4 letters. You can't go wrong with this, Ariel. Now, of course, if you're gonna choose 2 names for your baby girl, you could use any of these that I'm listing as the first or a middle name. Another name that also starts with an A, as you guys can tell, I really like names that start with A's, is Aribella or Arabella, and it means yielding to prayer. It's derived from the English language, combines 2 powerful words, Ari, which means lion, and it's a symbol of strength, courage, and Bella, meaning beautiful. Aribella or Arabella, that's spelled A-R-I-B-E-L-L-A or Arabella, A-R-A-B-E-L-L-A. Another name that I have had on my list for the longest time is more of a color, but I really like this name. It's Lavender. A lot of my friends have loved this name, but my husband does not love it as much. He just thinks it's kind of weird to name a person a color, but it's also a plant. So obviously the purple flower that we know and love in essential oils and in scents. And this is English origin, and I feel like if you had a girl that was born in the spring or the summertime, this would be a really good name for them. Lavender is spelled L-A-V-E-N-D-E-R. Another purple color name that I like a lot is Violet. I have recently met someone with the name Violeta in Spanish, but I like the way it sounds better in English, Violet. And it also reminds me of the character from the movie The Incredibles, the one with the black hair, Violet. I really like that name. Violet is from Latin origin, which means purple, and it also represents violets and other purple flowers, violet. Another name on my list that is also a flower is Marigold. I really like the name Marigold. It's spelled M-A-R-I-G-O-L-D. I feel like this would be a really nice name. Shortens to Goldie. I really like the name Goldie. I don't think our child will be born with golden locks or anything, since myself and my husband are both dark-haired people, but I did have light brown hair when I was younger, so they might, they have a slight chance of being born with light hair, but we never know. But yes, I imagine this little girl with long Goldilocks with the name Marigold. Another name that I really am obsessed with, but it really reminds me of a very unlikable person, but this name is Amber. Specifically because amber is one of my favorite colors. Anything in the orange shades and tones, like what I'm wearing, kind of, it's like the color amber. It's also a stone, or like a resin stone. You can also find amber colored glass cups and decor, home decor and things like that. And amber is spelled A-M-B-E-R. And also I really like this name because, as I mentioned, our baby girl is going to be born in the autumn time, so I feel like someone with that name that was born during that time would be perfect. Another name that I loved is the season itself, autumn. This is the season of harvest, and it's a feminine name from Latin origin meaning fall. And it's a nature earthy inspired name, which I love. And the name autumn, or the word autumn, is spelled A-U-T-U-M-N, autumn. But I also have to keep in mind that it needs to go, or it needs to be well paired with our last name, because our last name is Spanish. So autumn with our last name doesn't really go, so that's another thing that I have to keep reminding myself of. Another name I really love is the name Holly. I really like short 2-syllable names. Holly. This is German origin. It can also be used for boys, it says. It's a unisex name. It means dove or who lives at the sign of the dove. It can be also referring to the holly tree, which is a tree that produces little red berry fruit. And this is spelled Holly, Holly. If you guys have watched The Parent Trap, I think one of the twins' name is, if I'm not mistaken, Holly or Hallie. I have to go back and check, but I think one of them is Hallie or Holly. I can't remember right now, but I really like that name. I like both of their names. Another name I'm obsessed with that starts with an M is the name Madeline or Madeline. I think the original pronunciation would be Madeline. I do know that it's more on the popular side, but I've never personally met anyone with that name, so I feel like if I were to name, or if we were to name a baby girl Madeline, it would be really nice, and I really like that name. It's one of like my top favorites, Madeline. This is spelled Madeline. I feel like you can write it several ways. You can write it with an Line, Madeline, or Madeline with an Lyn instead. And the name Madeline means a woman from Magdala and one that evokes a memory. And in Hebrew, it means high tower. That's pretty interesting. Madeline, high tower. The next name, which is way up there on my list, actually one of the top favorites of mine, very close to Madeline, is Anastasia. Now, the way I'm saying it is in Spanish. In the English version, it would be Anastasia, but I can't get the word anesthesia out of my head when I say it in English. So I like Anastasia better, and I feel like for short we could call her Annie or Anne, maybe even like Stacy, Stasia, something like that. But I really like Annie for Anastasia. It's a pretty long name, but I feel like it's pretty easy to say for both English and Spanish speaking people, but I do like the Spanish version of it better, the way it's said and like pronounced, Anastasia. I really like that. Anastasia is spelled Anastasia. So there's a lot of A's in here. So Anastasia was actually very popular in the Russian territory or Russian origin. She was a Russian princess that, according to the story, was not very positive, to say the least, but they eventually made a Disney movie out of Princess Anastasia. I don't like the name because of the history or the meaning behind the name. I just like it because I like the way it sounds and the way it's spelled. If you watch that Disney movie and you hear the name Anastasia, you would probably be remembered or be reminded of that movie. And interestingly enough, the name Anastasia actually means resurrection. That's pretty interesting. Another very close, similar name to Anastasia and Anastasia is Annalise. This is spelled Annalise. And the only reason why I came up with Annalise was because I liked the name Anastasia, and my husband, for a very short period amount of time, liked the name Alice, but then he didn't like it anymore. So I was like, why don't we just kind of put those two names together, Anastasia, Alice, and Annalise. But I just like the name Annalise by itself. So that could be another name that you could put your baby girl if you like it, Annalise. It kind of sounds similar to Eloise as well. It has that same like ease sound to it. And Annalise means God is my oath and favor or grace. So it has that pleasant, soothing sound to it, Annalise. And that is it for the list of girl names that I have, which have not changed. I have not really taken any of these names out, except Aurora, only because the owl part is kind of weird to say. But if you like the name Aurora or Aurora, like Princess Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, you could add that in there. That was the only name though that I took out because I kind of didn't really like the sound of it, even though I tried my hardest to keep it in the list. So that would be another name if you guys like it. It's spelled Aurora, Aurora. And that is it. So I am so excited for you. Let me know if you are expecting a baby girl and what month in pregnancy you are right now. And if you guys like this name for someone else that is expecting, please go ahead and share it with them, because I have watched so many baby name videos and I have not seen a collection of these type of names in those videos. So I feel like this would be a really good idea for them to look at and go through all the names that I mentioned in the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.